So today we will start with this question, which is a lead code question, and the question is given an integer array nums, find the subarray with the largest sum and return its sum. So this is a lead code question, which is number 53, and if you see we have this array. So we have to find the subarray. So subarray is a contiguous array and it is in sequence. So it cannot be -2 plus -5 plus 4, something like that. It has to be in sequence. So in this one, we see that 4, -1 and 2 and 1 is the one with the largest sum, which is 6. So that's what we need to return. So let's see how can we solve this question. So let me write it down, the array here. It's -2, 1, -3, 4, -1, 2, 1, -5, 4. So this is the array, and the way to solve this question is to basically track the sum that we have at each and every index. Like, what we have to do is we have to see what is the sum at this index, what is the sum up till this index, what is the sum up till this index, up till this index, this index, this index, and all, right? And then we have to see and maintain a variable which is maximum, and this would be like a temporary sum, right? So up till this we have a temporary sum. For example, it's -2 plus 1, which is -1, right? So it's negative number. So that's the temporary sum that we have, right? And if the maximum sum variable is, say, a very negative integer, right, then we can say maximum sum till this point is also -1. And then we go here, and then we say, hey, it's -1 till this point plus -3, a new element that you're adding. So till here now it's -4, but the maximum sum is still -1. Temporary sum is -4, right? So up till this point we can say maximum sum is this -1, right? Up to this point. And then we come here, right? So we say temporary sum is -4 and +4, which is 0. So here the temporary sum is 0. But hey, you know what? Maximum sum is -1. So I mean, maximum sum is less than the temporary sum, or temporary sum is basically greater than maximum sum. So we should replace it with temporary sum, right? So now maximum sum is 0. Now we come here, and when we increase the temporary sum, so temporary sum is now at this point, up till this point, temporary sum is the element that you have, and you do -1, right? And so basically what will happen is we have to do something so that if I think the main thing that we have that I missed here is, if temporary sum is less than 0, then temporary sum has to be 0. Why I'm saying this is because if we see while explaining here, the temporary sum should not be 0 but should be 4. It was coming 0, it has to be 4. And the reason is because we did not consider this condition. So now if you see, the temporary sum when you start here is -2, right? And at this point of time, let's consider temporary sum with this condition, because it's negative, it is 0, right? So when you come up till this point, it is still -1. So you say, hey, temporary sum is still, we'll do it 0 because it's negative, right? At this point also, temporary sum is negative, right? Because it's -1 and then it's -3. So it's basically 0. And when you come here, okay, at this point of time, when you said temporary sum is equals to temporary sum, the previous one, plus a of I, right? Because you're always adding this I, right? So initially temporary sum was -2 because you start with 0, right? So this is -2. So it becomes -2 and then it becomes 0, right? Then you come into this. So temporary sum equals to temporary sum, which is 0 plus a of I. So in this case, if you come here, individual element also can be a maximum sum, right? Because individual element can also be in maximum subarray. So in case when you have a question where you have just one given in an array, that can be an answer it also with this formula, right? So that way, up till this point, when it comes to this point, this would be the temporary sum, which would be 4 with this concept. And maximum sum would also be 4 because if maximum sum is less than temporary sum, we'll swap it, right? So we'll start from here and then we'll come temporary sum is equals to temporary sum of array. So temporary sum, so maximum sum is 4, but temporary sum will now change to 3, and 3 plus 2 will be 5, and plus 1 would be 6. So till here, now maximum sum will also change because it was 4 and now it is 6 because it's a greater value. And now temporary sum will be 6 minus 5, which is 1, but maximum sum will not change because 1 is less than maximum sum, right? And then 1 plus 4, the last element, which is 5. So maximum sum will still be 6. Okay. So this is how we will solve this question. Basically, we have to have two variables, temporary sum and maximum sum. And the condition that we have to take care of is if temporary sum is less than 0 or it is negative, then we make temporary sum equals to 0, so that it takes care of condition where we have individual element, positive element. That element itself for this particular test case can be or will be a maximum subarray by itself, right? Okay, so let's start coding. So we have let's write max subarray. So int temporary sum, and let's make it 0, and max sum, let's give it a integer, let's give it a minimum value. And now what we have to do, as we said, we have to iterate through this array. So we say arr.length and we do I++. And now what we have to do, we have to say temp sum is equals to temp sum plus arr of I. So initially it will be temp sum equals to temp sum plus arr of 0, which is -2, right? And we have to say if temp sum is less than 0, then temp sum equals to 0. Okay, so in this case it is -2, so temp sum will be 0, and temp sum equals to temp sum plus arr of I. So it will come here. Here it will be temp sum equals to 0 plus 1, right? So it will be temp sum will be 1. So now we have to say if temp sum is greater than max sum, then max sum equals to temp sum. So now max sum will be 1, right? And 1 minus 3 will be minus 2. So temp sum will be 0, right? Here temp sum will be 0. And temp sum equals to temp sum plus ARR of I. So temp sum here will be 4. Here temp sum will be 4, right? And max sum will also be 4, because this condition, if temp sum is greater than max sum, and max sum we put it to some lower value. But here also we see max sum was 1 initially, right? So now 4 is bigger than 1, so it will be 4, and so it will go on, and temp sum will equals to temp sum plus here. I think this should work. And I think one more thing that we can do is, I think this should work. Let's see. Quick static void main int ARR equals to, let's take this array only, and let's return int, and here we'll return max sum, right? And we'll say system.out.print max sum for array is max, and then we'll say ARR. So this should work, hopefully. Yep, so this is working fine. And I need to also check one more test case. So maybe I'll say test case 1, and I have to check for one more test case, which is test case 2, where I just have one element. So let's put test case 1 here, and then let's put test case 2 here. Okay, which is correct. So let's put println okay. So this is working fine. So the time complexity for this is O of n, and space complexity is O of 1, because we are not using any extra space in this logic, and O of n because we are just iterating through each and every element, right? So if there are n elements, then it's O of n. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys.